everyone. So today I'm doing this really intense dark look. I wore something similar in my last unboxing video. You can go and check back on that if you missed it, because I showed you guys so many new beauty products in that, and I got a lot of comments on that video asking me, you know, what makeup I was wearing, if I was going to do a tutorial. So I decided to go ahead and sort of recreate that look, but I amped it up a little bit more. I wanted something even more intense, and I'm using my new palette that I got by Tarte. It's the Tartelette, the original one. I bought this when I was in Canada. This is the first one. They came out with a new one called In Bloom that has some shimmer shades in there as well. And the first one, this one, is all matte. So I was automatically drawn to this one. And also this has mostly cool tones. I mean, there are actually some warm tones in here, like the more sort of lighter colors, but there are quite a few cool tones in here. I love cool tone eyeshadows. I feel like people tend to go more for the warms because it's a little bit more accessible, but I feel like cools just look so cool. Who would have thunk it? And so actually this whole look here is all matte. There is no shimmer or anything. Even the highlight here is matte, and I'll show you how to do that and all that. Love this palette. It's such a good purchase. If you love matte eyeshadows, like, I love this to death. I wanted to do one dark look before I started to get into like spring and summer makeup. You guys know what I mean. I hope you guys really enjoy this. Let's get started. So I'm gonna start off with the Makeup Forever Aqua Black eyeshadow, and this is basically a waterproof cream eyeshadow that works great as a base, and I'm going to use a fluffy brush just to apply that, and this is going to help those darker shadows really show up and adhere and just pop so that they come out really, really dark. So I'm just going to feather that in really lightly and make sure that there's no harsh edges. You don't want any like harsh black or any lines there, because it's going to be really hard to blend out later. And now I'm going in with the lightest color in the Tartelette palette. So this is the very lightest one, and it's called Super Mom, and I'm just going to lay that underneath my eyebrow because it's going to help to blend out the darker shadows. So I always like to work from light to dark rather than from dark to light. So I just use that underneath my brow, and then I'm using Natural Beauty, and I'm going to start putting that in with a crease brush and just basically layer this right beneath Super Mom, which was the lightest shade, and I'm just gonna start working that in. And I think I actually went in a bit with the purple as well, called Best Friend in that palette, which is just a little bit of a darker purple. It's not the darkest one yet, but it has sort of like a purpley pink base. So I kind of mixed those two together and worked those into the crease. And then I went in with Power Player, which is this sort of neutrally grayish taupe color, and darkened up that crease a little bit with a big brush just to really get that color very smoked out, very soft and diffused looking. And now I'm going in with the darkest purple, which is called Bombshell, and I'm going to pat this right on top of the black on my lid. And this I really want a very intense color payoff, like really, really dark. So I'm using a flat brush and just packing that on. So I'm using quite a lot of product and not really moving it around, just really packing it on to the lid and going all the way into the inner corner as well. And to blend it out, I'm just using a brush and just blending out the edges of that, and that sometimes removes a little bit of the color, so it's good to go back with a little bit of the color just to blend it out further without removing too much. So here you can actually see I'm like picking up some of the color and blending it out. I think I went back in with Best Friend just to blend out the edges, and then just kind of repeated that process. And then I went in with Fashionista, which is the matte black shade in that palette, and I'm working this onto the very outer third of the crease so that it has this really intense darkness there, and just blended that out and smoked it out a little bit more. Now I went in with Caregiver, which is sort of a light, very light pink, and I decided to use that for a highlight on the inner corner. I didn't really want anything shimmery or anything in this eye look, so I'm going to just use that matte pink and kind of blend out the inner corner so it doesn't look quite so harsh, and just gives a little pop of lightness there. And then I blended that out again with Super Mom on the top so that it looks a little bit more blended and a little bit more even. Now I went in with a eyeliner by MAC. This is Smolder. It's just a black kohl pencil that's really easy to blend. And this was a little bit hard to film because the camera kept on focusing on the wrong thing, but basically I just layered that on the top and on the bottom lash line so that I wanted a really sort of smoky black, like smutty looking eyeliner, very sooty looking. So I'm using that pencil to pencil it in. Sorry about that, it's really hard to film this without like a camera person helping me with the focus. I'm using a smudging brush here to smudge that liner out because I didn't want it to look very harsh. I wanted it to look very smoked out. And then I put some of the Fashionista, that black eyeshadow, right on top. Then on the lower line, I'm going back in with Best Friend and Natural Beauty, kind of blended together, and just applied that to the lower lash line. And I think I used a little bit of the black as well, the Fashionista, just to get a really sort of dark, smoky lower lash line. So here I'm just adding some mascara to my top and bottom lashes. I am going to be adding some false lashes in a second, but you definitely want to apply mascara before you do that. And then I'm just going to put on some falsies on the top lash line. And these are actually by House of Lashes. I forget the name of what they're called, but I'll have them listed in the info bar like always. And just glued those on with some lash glue. I really like the latex-free one by Duo. It's in a green tube. Here you can see the lashes up close. They have a little bit more of a feline look because they're a bit thicker on the outside. And now for the lipstick, I used the Ariana Grande by MAC. And I actually used a lip liner, but just ignore that step because I ended up like removing this and like redoing it because this lipstick is really tricky to work with. It's just like really patchy and just applies very strangely. So this was honestly not my favorite lipstick by MAC. But yeah, just applied that, and of course if you use a really dark color you want to blot because otherwise it's going to end up on your teeth. But I love the color of this lipstick, but I'll show you later what happened. It's just a very strange texture. Now going in to do some contouring, I'm using my favorite contour powder by Inglot because it's really cool toned, and I'm using an angled brush just to apply that to the hollows of my cheeks. I wanted just a really sculpted look, so that's why I'm using a little bit of contouring powder just to contour my face, especially like right below my cheekbones and then also around my hairline, going kind of like along my forehead here and the sides of my temples. And then I'm using a buffing brush, like a kabuki brush, just to blend it out so it looks really nice and even and smooth. And for blush, I wanted a really cool tone blush, so I'm using another one by Inglot, and this one has like a cool, almost lilac tone to it, so it goes really well with the eyeshadows and the lipstick. And just applied that onto my cheeks and blended it outwards, kind of blending it with the contour that I applied earlier. And here's where I start to notice that the lipstick is going a bit wonky, like it's starting to crack and just look a bit strange. Yeah, this was like the first time I tried this lipstick out, so I was a little bit like, what is going on here? Can you see it's like kind of cracking and just, it was like getting on my teeth. Anyhow, then I'm using a highlighting powder from the NYX Contouring palette, and this is the one that doesn't have shimmer in it, so it's a matte, sort of very light color. And I used that as a highlighter on the tops of my cheekbones. I didn't want any shimmer in this look, like I said, so this is really cool because it's matte. And on the bridge of my nose and like the tops of my forehead there. And here we go again with the lipstick. Can you see? I'm like, what is going on here? It's like super cracky and like, I don't know, this lipstick is just weird. But anyway, then I decided to finish it off with some finishing spray just so it doesn't look so powdery, and that's the completed look. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Make sure to subscribe to my channel, hit that red subscribe button, and you can see some more videos right now that I've linked on the side. You might enjoy those as well. And also make sure to follow me on my social networks. I've listed those on the top right hand corner. I'd love to have you guys along, and I will see you for the next video. Bye everyone.